Let's jump into This Week in Freight, powered by my friends over at DAT. And if you're asking yourself, what is This Week in Freight? 3 times a week, we do lane analyses that are 100% viewer submitted. So if you want your lane broken down that you're trying to read the market on, I need you to email my team, podcast@thefreightcoach.com. I just need shipping city, delivery city, and trailer type. And if you think I'm somehow using this to benefit my freight brokerage, round up to the nearest big city. And plus, you guys, we all have the same lead generation software. And I don't do anything but flatbed. So this one in particular is Reefer Freight today. We're breaking this one down. And this one is Yuma, Arizona to Columbus, Ohio. This one has okay, so for those of you this is the first time tuning in, every time I'm out here and I'm assessing a lane to go out and bid for my customer, the first thing I always pay attention to is the miles. And on this one, you guys in particular, it's 2,000 miles. It's a great lane. All right. People love it. It's long. It takes up a couple of days. It's a great Thursday to Monday, Friday to Monday load out there. It's good pick up Monday, deliver Thursday, any of that. So there's no mileage thing that would deter me from ever wanting to go after this specific lane, depending on the day of the week. Long story short, anything under 1,000 miles, shipping on Thursday or Friday for Monday is exponentially going to be more expensive than shipping it during the week. And those are those little tips and tricks I want you guys to go out there and talk to your customers about on why it's always more expensive to ship certain freight, certain days of the week. But this lane in particular, there's a lot of factors that are coming into this one. So a lot of my friends move produce freight, and I talk to my friends often, and they have all brought up the fact that the main produce shipping hubs have been very, very challenging to get capacity here over the last 6 weeks. And there's multiple different factors that are coming into this one. And I'm starting to see it in my book of business as well, especially for loads that are going into certain regions out there. But since we're talking about this lane, if you look at the 1 year mark, we're at about $6,000 is what this one was running for. But look at this time of year, right? We're in March right now, March and April, and it normally sits around $4,700 to $4,800 around this time of year. But look at where it's currently at, you guys. There's a $2,000 rate increase on this specific lane between last year and this year. And you might be asking yourself, why? What is going on? Especially because this isn't peak out there. Peak is normally about $5,000 over the middle of the summer. Again, this was for last year. But again, you got to look at it like this. You got to pay attention to what's going on, you guys, with the DOT, with immigration checkpoints and the scales and everything, and drivers' likelihood of getting detained. Even if they're legal, they're having to sit at some of these certain checkpoints for hours on end. And what does that do? That naturally causes people to not want to go to certain areas. That's not saying that these carriers are illegal or the driver is illegal. They just don't want to be messed with, all right? And you see that a lot during DOT inspection week. A lot of drivers just don't want to drive during that week because they just don't want to be messed with. It's not saying their equipment's bad or anything like that. They just make the conscious decision to shut their operation down for that week or run at limited capacity because they just don't want to be messed with. And again, I'm not here to tell anybody how to run their business. I'm trying to build my own. These are just some of those factors that I see out there and have seen out there throughout the years. But right now, in particular, immigration, English language proficiency, enforcement is going on heavy down towards the border cities. So if you have any freight that is moving into that area, I would be aware of that. I would want to talk to my customers about that we are probably going to see rate increases for the foreseeable future. And then obviously, you guys, diesel is up. All right. Now, everybody has an opinion about, and I see this from the broker community. This is directed 100% towards the broker community. Every time fuel goes up and everybody's got some magic algorithm about, actually, when diesel's up $1 a gallon, carriers should only charge X and Y. It just stop. All right. Please stop. Diesel, you guys don't look at it like this. The cost to fill up a truck, and again, I went to public school, so my math skills are very basic. It's about 300 gallons to fill up a truck. All right. Say the national average is $5 a gallon. Say it's $1,500 to fill it up. Now that's every couple of days. All right. You got to fill that up. Maybe every 3 days. You're probably spending about $5,000 a week just in fuel. For easy math, we'll keep it there. Maybe your fuel card or your whoever you're getting your diesel from gives you like a $20,000 limit or a $25,000 limit out there. Okay, so if you did the quick math, you're like, damn, they might be maxed out in fuel, and they might not be able to afford to fill up their truck. And then what happens if they don't get their invoices that come in that they're owed for like 45 days instead of 30 days? And then they have a cash flow constraint that's out there, right? So a lot of us want to sit here and pick apart how carriers want to operate their business, but none of you guys actually look at the downstream. You look at what it should be for an extra rate per mile to fill up a truck right now. And that's just not the case. All right. You got to look downstream. You got to look at the potential cash flow constraints. You got to look at how many people aren't paying them, right? Do they have any aging invoices that's out there? And for those of you who don't actually own a business or work in accounting, you'd be surprised on how many people drag their feet on payment terms. They tell you it's net 30, but guess what? They don't pay you for 50 days. And if you're a smaller operation and you're trying to balance that cash flow, you're going to have a very challenging time when fuel spikes up like this seemingly overnight and stays up there. So it's a lot bigger deal than a lot of you brokers want to even admit. And maybe it's because you don't actually know what you're talking about. But that's just what I'm telling you. Like when you see this, when carriers are saying we need more money for fuel, it's a big expense. All right. It's a massive expense out there and not everybody's paying them. So when you see spikes like this, I tie it to a couple of key factors: immigration checkpoint or an ELP enforcement, specifically down south around the border states, and diesel. I think diesel is a lot bigger driver to capacity constraints right now than most people are even giving credit to. I talk to actual truck drivers like a lot. So I'm just giving you guys this information. So when you see this rate increase that's out here, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is going to remain elevated for the entirety of the year. It very well could. I don't know, but those are those key factors that I would be talking to my customers about. All right. So if you're moving this freight out there, I would start tethering people's expectations, because I look at the capacity constraints that I'm seeing overall in the market right now have a lot to do with where fuel is. And some individuals out there might not be able to afford to fill up and operate their business right now. They might be able to do it for a couple of weeks, but unless they're getting quick pay, unless they're getting an opportunity to keep that that line of credit open to how they're financing it, you guys, those are those key factors that are taken in. So I would take, if you're in a spot market situation with your customers right now, you are in a very strong position. If you contract it out with your customers, say you got some RFPs that got published in January or February, I would advise you to honor your rate commitments right now. I'm not going to tell you to lose thousands and thousands of dollars or anything like that, but I would take this on like a week by week basis, because like you don't want to be the first one to raise your rates and then say something happened and then capacity loosens back up and then fuel prices go down and then you're left not seeing any more business, right? Like it's a very delicate transitionary period. This lane though, in particular, Yuma, Arizona to Columbus, Ohio, I am taken on a week by week basis. If you're in a spot market situation, you're in a very strong spot. If you're in a contracted situation, in a couple of weeks, I might be wanting to talk to my customer about potentially getting a rate increase, because this is only going up and it's seemingly only going up.